This is a lecture from Open Tuition. To benefit from the lecture, you should download the free lecture notes from opentuition.com.
We're now going to look at what we call real options, which in the last chapter we looked at share options and using the Black-Scholes formula. Here we're relating it more to projects, even though the arithmetic basically would be the same, it'd be the same formula. But let me explain what we mean by a real option. You see, usually in the previous financial management exam, in the earlier chapters, when we're appraising a project, we estimate the cash flows, we discount away, accept or reject. And we say it's very much take it or leave it. You know, here's a machine that lasts 5 years, it costs $500,000, it'll give these receipts. And we say, right, we'll either do it and get those flows, or we won't do it. But in real life, things are generally not quite as rigid. There are choices you can make. For example, I mean, look at the list below. I'll do the second one first. The option to expand. You know, we may have a project, buy one machine and expect to sell a certain number, make our decision. But maybe, after a few years, if things are going well, we're in a position to expand, buy a second machine. And usually there's nothing to stop us, but it means that when we do the project in the first place, we would know that maybe we'll expand in the future. We'll have the option to expand. If things aren't going so well, we obviously won't. If things are going well, perhaps we will expand. We've got the option, a choice. Simply jumping back to the first one, an option to delay. Normally we appraise and we say, right, we either do it now or we don't do it now. But maybe it all looks very risky, and if I do it now, it's very risky. Maybe if we wait a few years, the risk won't be as much. Well, it'd be quite nice if I had the choice, the option to delay doing the project. Maybe there's no choice, you know, you have to do it now or lose it. But maybe there is the choice that if I want, I could delay starting. And the third type, an option to abandon. Okay, we may go ahead with the project. And it may be that, you know, if we do it, we've got to do it for 5 years, whatever. But in real life, I think more likely, whatever flows you'd originally forecast, if you did the project and found things were going badly, you were making losses, you may well decide to stop early. I'm not going to carry on for the full 5 years, I'm making losses. I'll stop early, I'll stop after 3 years. I'll abandon. Of course, it depends whether we've got that choice, that option available. For some reason, it may be that you're committed. You know, if it's 5 years, it's 5 years, even if it ends up making losses. But quite likely, you will be able to stop early if needed. It'll make the project a bit more attractive to us if we know that if things go wrong, we've got the choice, the option of stopping early. And finally, the option to redeploy. I've used the example that I've typed out there. And suppose we've invested a lot of money setting up in order to teach courses, ACCA courses. Did all our costings and so on, and decided it was worthwhile doing it. Well, it may turn out, after a few years, that perhaps it's not making the money I thought it would, and we'd be better switching to a different, teaching a different qualification. Now, maybe we've no choice, maybe we're committed, fine. But quite likely, if I decide that teaching ACCA isn't making money, but teaching something else would make more, quite likely I'd have the choice to change partway through, to redeploy. And if I knew in advance that that choice was there, if it becomes necessary, again, it makes things more attractive. So that's what we mean by real options, real choices, effectively. That we're not just stuck. Here's a project, 5 years, right. Once we start, we've got to do it exactly as we've planned. We've got choices. All right, well, this can and has been asked as numbers in the exam. You've been asked to value the option. And it's very much, well, it's using the same formula as you did with share options. I'm trying to find my formula sheet while I'm talking. Where have I put it? Here it is. It's using the same formula. It's the same work. Let's look at an example. Example 1, well, there is only one example here. This, in fact, is almost identical to one of the exam questions on real options. It's presented exactly this way. Warsaw plc is considering a new project which requires an outlay of 10 million and has an expected net present value of 2 million. And of course, if there was nothing else involved, if the NPV is positive, we'd say we go ahead. However, the economic climate over the next few years is thought to be very risky. Volatility is 20%. So if we do go ahead, there's a big risk. May end up being better, but the economic climate could do badly, and we could be in a mess. It turns out we've got a choice. We don't have to do the new project now. We don't have to start now. We can delay. We can delay commencing it for 3 years, and then in 3 years' time, decide whether to do it or not. Because in 3 years' time, well, presumably, the riskiness will have disappeared, the economic climate. Maybe if things go badly over the next few years, we come to look at the project and say, no, we won't do it. Maybe if things have gone well over the next 3 years, we'll come to the project and say, yes, we'll definitely do it. But it's to our advantage to wait until these risks that are happening in the economy are over and then make the decision. We've got the choice to delay. We're required to estimate the value of this option delay. It makes it more attractive, of course. Here's the same project, but you can wait a few years until you're more certain about things. We're asked to value it using Black-Scholes. So, exactly the same formula. The only thing really is to be careful about what symbols we're using, and then the arithmetic's exactly as it is for share options. First of all, PA. For shares, it's the value of a share now. Here it's a project. What's the value of the project now? Well, if we do the project, we'll pay out 10 million. It's got an NPV of 2 million, which means the present value of the inflows must be 12 million. Pay out 10, get back 12, NPV 2. So this project is worth 12 million to us. That's the value of this project. And obviously without any option, you'd pay out 10 million, get back 12 million. It's worth 2 million to us. PE is the exercise price. The amount we'd have to pay, well, the amount we'll have to pay is 10 million. What else do we need? Well, R, the rate of interest, the risk-free rate, that's given us 6% or 0.06. T, the time to expiry, well, we can delay for 3 years. It's in 3 years' time that we'll make the decision whether to invest or not. So T is 3. S, finally, the volatility. We'd be told, and we are told. Volatility, standard deviation, 20%, 0.2. So there are the figures we're going to use. It is then just sticking them in exactly as before. So if you are happy with the calculations in the last chapter, by all means stop this and finish it yourself. But then obviously check later. Otherwise, I'll try and be efficient. Let's work through it. First of all, remember we need D1 and D2. D1, log to the base E of PA over PE, so 12 over 10, plus R, 0.06, plus 0.5 times S squared, S is 0.2, times T, oh dear, it's happened again, T, which is 3, divided by S root T, so 0.2, that's square root 3. So what does that come to? Log to the base E of 12 divided by 10 is 0.1823. Now the next bit, if I start with the end, 0.2 squared times 0.5 times 0.06, oh sorry, 0.2 squared times 0.5 plus 0.06 multiplied by 3 is 0.24 divided by 0.2 times the square root of 3, square root of 3, 0.2, 0.3464, which gives me a D1 of 0.1823 plus 0.24 divided by 0.3464, 1.2191. So there's D1. Before I start doing the ND1s and everything, we need D2. D2 is equal to D1, 1.2191, minus S root T. Well, we've already calculated S root T. It's 0.3464. So D2, 1.2191 minus 0.3464, 0.8727. Now, of course, we need ND1 and ND2. And here we're forced to go to 2 decimal places. So first of all, ND1 is N of 1.22. From the normal distribution tables, 1.2 down the side, 0.02 along the top. 1.22 is 0.3888. But remember, because D1 is positive here, we need to add 0.5. So the actual value is 0.8888. Similarly, ND2 is N of 0.87 to 2 places. 0.8 row, 0.07 column. I get 0.3078. But again, it was D2 was positive. Add 0.5, 0.8078. Now we can go to the main formula and get our answer. So for the call option, which is what this is, we've got the right to effectively buy this project, pay 10 million to get 12. The value of the option, PA, oh, I've lost the figure. PA was 12 million. Times ND1, 0.8888, minus PE, the exercise price, which was 10 million, times ND2, 0.8078, times, well, the messy bit, e to the minus RT, or as I spent time before, substitute your calculator, it's equal to 1 over e to the RT, which is 12 times 8888 is 10.67 million minus, well, e to the minus rt. What was r and t? R was 0.06%. Was it? T was 3. So it's 0.18. It's e to the power 0.18. And just for those of you who are checking yourself with me, just let me work that bit out on its own. 1 over e to the power 0.18, 1 divided by brackets, e to the, oh dear, that bit there comes to 0.8353. So now I can do the whole of the last bit of the equation. 10 times 0.8078 times 0.8353 gives me 6.75. So finally, what do we get? 10.67 minus 6.75 is 3.92 million. Now, arithmetically, there we are. However, be careful how you interpret it, because in fact, the first time this was ever asked was the previous examiner. And although he got all his numbers correct, he did actually interpret the answer wrongly. Remember, the value of this project without the option if it was either we do it now or we don't, you'd pay out 10 and you'd get back 12. It's 2 million. The NPV. That's how much it's valued to us if we don't have the choice, the right, to delay it by 3 years. We do have the right to delay it, and look at the formula. It's still 12 we're getting, 10 we're paying. But we're having to multiply by those figures, partly to deal with the volatility, and partly, I hadn't mentioned before, but out of interest, this bit is actually discounting, but instead of discounting year by year, it's what we call continuous discounting, minute by minute. So these bits deal with a combination of the volatility and the discounting. But now, instead of just having 12 less 10, we get, it's changed, we get 3.92. So the value with this option, it's more valuable to us. It's 3.92 million. And I'm not surprised it's worth more to us, because in 3 years' time we'll be able to make a better decision. We'll know whether things are good, the economy is doing well or badly. And so, although, the examiner would have got virtually full marks, but in fact, the value of the option itself, how much is it worth to us to actually have the option? Now, the option's worth an extra, the difference of 1.92 million. But there we are. So again, provided you're happy with the last chapter, I don't think that's particularly difficult, particularly since, as I've said, that example is virtually a copy of a real exam question. I just changed the numbers, that's all.